BBtB. Welcome to Chicago, welcome to Auburn Gresham, and welcome to the Auburn Gresham Healthy Lifestyle Hub.
Hey.
I hear you from all over the place, Baltimore, Detroit, Cleveland. All right. Wow, how's your experience been so far on your tour?
Great.
Yeah.
It's warm. Yes, it is warm. It's like the summer.
But this is the first time I've seen a Devin Hester.
And we have a story with that. So I'm going to lead you all to our Chicago Bears community room where you'll meet our CEO, Carlos Nelson, and we'll tell you more about the Auburn Gresham Healthy Lifestyle Hub.
Oh, wow.
Teresa seen me do this, but I love saying a great man. Normally I have PhD or oftentimes PhDs, engineers, folks like you guys in the room, and I like to be up here and I'll say, you know, a great man once said, we are stronger together than we are stronger together than we are apart. And I look at the folks and we have, you know, just these visionaries, and I said, who said that? And I get the report, Confucius, you know, Gandhi. And I'm like, no, that guy right there, Walter Payton. I'm reading you right. So, welcome to the Auburn Gresham Healthy Lifestyle Hub. We like to look at this as the epicenter of health and prosperity on Chicago's Southside. It's also nicknamed, I wish I could claim this, but a former commissioner, still kicking myself that I never called this the miracle on 79th Street. That I will give that to former Commissioner Maurice Cox. I think he's still in Chicago, right? Not here. I think he's still here. Who cares right now? No, anyway, Maurice, if you listen to that. No, so at any rate, so we're actually, I just wanted to kind of convene here momentarily, then we'll go up to the fourth floor. But it was important to show that the Chicago Bears was a very important corporate partner. When you think Chicago Bears, you certainly do not think investing in communities like ours. The Bears heard about our organization, I got the name. Our organization's work, COVID crisis response work, saving lives in our community. The first COVID-related death was actually a couple of blocks away. My team of 50 staffers, we shut down from March 13th, at Friday the 13th, 2020, 1 week, and we have been back ever since. So we consider ourselves first responders, and so distributing, PPE. We set up the first testing site locally. This was prior to having a beautiful health center here, building this building. Then we set up, vaccination events, etc. The Bears heard about our work and asked me to come to the the NFL draft in Cleveland and make the announcement of who we were going to select as the first pick in 2021. So I was like,
Nice.
So anyway, that was in Cleveland. And any of you guys from Cleveland? Hey,
Who was that pick? Justin Fields?
And with the 11th pick, Chicago Bears picked Justin Fields. At any rate, and I told them, the family that owns the Bears, the McCaskies, and 2 years ago, I told them that in this room right here, we would host in 2025 a Super Bowl party watching the Chicago Bears at the Super Bowl. So that's good. We have one more year to be sad. Right. So the Bears said, hey, this is great, and we'd also like to make our first capital investment in a community in the community period. And so we were able to raise $611,000 from the Chicago Bears. And that really is something awesome. And the fact that, we have them, their marketing, the PR folks, the designation, I don't know if you saw monument sign across, out on the street. So we're actually continuing, we're gonna make this, especially if the Bears decide to leave the city limits and go somewhere else, this will be kind of a tourist attraction. So if you wanna see and feel and hear and learn about the Chicago Bears, we're gonna do some more things here. And Kevin Warren, who's the president of the Bears, he's committed to officing out of a fourth floor space once every other Thursday, starting like February. So this is definitely Bear Central, but it is the epicenter of health and prosperity. We have a high-tech teaching kitchen, so we live stream cooking demonstrations out of the cooking, the teaching kitchen. The importance there was to not have the industrial equipment, but equipment that folks at home could feel like they had access to. Most of the demonstrations have been more about using food as medicine, so healthy cooking demonstrations. This is kind of like an overflow room. Teresa, you've been in here. Have you been in here when we demonstrated? Yeah. So I mean, it really is working out. We always anticipated that this old, decrepit, former public aid building, and literally it was decrepit, with no windows on the east elevation. This is east here, west here. Those large 18 by 24 foot wide storefront windows. Hopefully you noticed them. Did you all notice the windows on the, okay? They were bricked up. So when the state of Illinois took this building over in the 70s, and to open up a public aid building servicing this black community, they decided to brick in the windows. So think about that for a moment. And then the customer service that followed was commiserate with how they treated us. Really, bricked in windows, no lights. It was really a detestable place. And so when we got this building, part of the quality of life planning process, but it was an aspiration that we've been, or vision we've had for quite a while. We blasted more than 40 windows, and looking at the back, Cathy and Vanna, Cathy's Welch over there, we blasted windows east and west to bring in natural light, and we wanted to bring light to the community, both literally and figuratively. And so as we ascend this building, it's a 4-story building with the fully built out lower suite that we lease as well. You'll really take in the amount of natural light that we brought into the building. You'll meet a couple of my teammates up on 4, so we're actually going to get up on 4. You feel free to make bathroom breaks. There's 4 restrooms on every floor, outfitted with Kohler fixtures. Another corporate partner. Whirlpool's a corporate partner. And mind you, none of these folks were around for the many years, Lanier, that we tried to raise funds to get this building. And then the Chicago Prize, the Christian Trauma Foundation, $10 million award happened, and we were all of a sudden being recognized. And we're still being recognized. And so you'll see some of the fruits of our labor as we go up. And then I'm glad I have Teresa Prim here because she can fill in any of the gaps that Norma Sanders and I miss. Any questions before we head up? On this first floor, there's a pharmacy will be coming. We have the Bank of America. We have the Bears Community Room, Teaching Kitchen. Big Brothers, Big Sisters is also on this first floor. And then the food concept, which will be forthcoming, a little shy of 3,000 square feet, will be right kind of on the other side of this wall. It's a larger space than it feels. And that'll be open to the community. And it's it's been a challenge for us, because that's, matter of fact, you're an expert in this business, finding that, you're gonna sit back down. But so we still need help there. We've identified a black-owned restaurant owner who's been providing services here on the Southside, a little further east. They've had challenges, and so all we know is this is a building with 150 employees, 150, in a building that's been vacant, getting living wage jobs with a full service health center, a primary and immediate care center in a community where there has not been one for 50, 60, 70 years. And so this building is really being responsive to a lot of the needs, desires of this community. And so what do we have? First, we're going to talk about the Chicago Prize, the Auburn, always growing Auburn Gresham. Norma really was the composer of the prize, which made a, oh my God. Make a note of that. It really is, okay, these two projects here. So you're in the Auburn Gresham Healthy Lifestyle Hub, which has gotten north of 19 million, almost $20 million. We didn't anticipate the budget going that high, but COVID, and today be able to produce a building, fully 60,000 square foot building, and to have it oversubscribed with tenants in a community like this during a time like COVID was, I guess, pretty fascinating. What I'm told is that.
Yes, it is. With 90% occupancy in a commercial office building during the pandemic is amazing.
And my background is engineering, so I kind of freak out when it comes to things like terracotta. You'll thank you, Eric. Go back to the prior slide. And then our sister project is the Renewable Energy and Urban Farming Campus, the Developer Green Era Development. When you get a chance, so this, you can see this water tower right here. So when you get a chance, if you look out one of those windows and you look about 5 o'clock, so southeast, you can see that water tower. Right, it's only about less than 2 blocks as the crow flies, and so those are the two campuses that connect and make up always growing Auburn Gresham. Anchoring this 9-acre renewable energy and urban farming campus is an anaerobic digester. Everybody know what a digester is? Anaerobic digester. Lanier, you know what a digester is. Norma, where are you? All right, so I didn't want to talk.
You're the engineer.
Yeah, right. So basically, take food waste, and it processes food waste and into two products. One is compost materials to help. The city of Chicago's earth is pretty contaminated, and so really, as we have launched into, and most of you guys know this whole urban agricultural movement.
That the sister with the big hair?
Yes, Erica Allen.
Erica Allen.
Yes, Erica Allen is the co-owner
Yeah.
of the digester and a very close partner of ours. And then the other material is renewable energy. So we actually sell that back into the pipeline. Now the unique thing is, I know you guys are here about community ownership, right, and buying things back. Well, our organization, as the CDC here in Auburn Gresham, is the largest Class B equity owner in the digester. And so I believe, Teresa, they anticipated making about $68 million over the first 10 years, and we're 33% owner in that digester, which means the proceeds that are kicked back to GAGDC, we will infuse into our community development work. And so you will continue to see, buildings like that building going up to the east here, or partners in our neighborhood network being seeded with funds, opportunities to own their own and build their own. When I met Lanier a number of years ago, but really it resonates when you think about owning your own, because people talk about gentrification, and if you own your own, this is the way we look at it, then you are able to mitigate that whole bad G word, gentrification. And so, next slide. Let me look over here, Eric. Oh,
Did you say 33% equity?
yes,
In the digester?
right, absolutely. So more of we put a lot of money into the terracotta. If you didn't notice the terracotta, please, as you head out. It took a lot of time, energy, and effort, but it turned out to a very beautiful building. Next slide. We'll go quickly. Yeah, so on the second floor is the UI Health Miles Square Health Center. And so, so the FQHC, Federally Qualified Health Center, is run by Miles Square. And we knew that there was a dearth of services for our families from pediatric to geriatric care. We were able to get a grant from the Order of St. Francis Little Company of Mary, $300,000 that allowed us to expand from a primary care to an immediate care center as well, with dental services. Oh, yeah, and unfortunately we're not able to see it, but it's a couple floors below, some of the most beautiful dental exam rooms, and we got to get you guys back so you can definitely see this. Teresa, what am I missing? Oral health.
Oral health, dental health, behavioral health.
Yeah, and behavioral health as well. The other thing was, coming out of COVID, I recognized the importance of self-care. Now, this mile square, this second floor health center was packed with health services, and then with all, for the providers and staff, it had a teeny little, like a little lounge. I mean, it was no more than 200 or 400 square foot lounge for all these providers and folks that need care for themselves. And so we were able to I don't know if that's the appropriate term, but we were able to get them to go up, and so duplex. So they're also up on the third floor with space for the providers, the staffers. And so it's a lounge, it's a full kitchen, it's about 1,200 square feet, a little less than 1,200 square feet. And then we also have designs for a women's wellness center. It's about 4,000 square feet of raw space that we are, just laying our bodies across the train track until that money is raised to get that built out. We're in pretty good shape. Next slide.
Is UI Health a red pay tenant to you?
Yes, absolutely.
Were they attended when you guys were putting together the capital stack?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, so they weren't. So we were actually entertaining. So Chicago Family Health Center. I know most of you guys aren't from here, but Chicago Family. So many of the FQs were interested because you're talking about 79th and Halsted. This is the busiest bus line in the entire city of Chicago. Very densely populated Bungalow Belt community. If you don't know about Chicago Bungalow, please research that. And so there was, a Chicago Family Health Center, Friend Health, many others. We had a relationship with Mile Square from our school-based health center work before, and I would say, here we go. It's the University of Illinois, and that means it's government, and they move on the ecological clock. And so they do. Let me just say, they do pay rent. So so GAGDC, we actually established another not-for-profit. The GAGDC Support Corporation is actually the owner of the building. I don't know if you guys are going to go into New Markets tax credits, but I won't. And so my organization is a master lease with the Support Corp. I think I'm the president of the Support Corp.
So you should say this is a new market tax credit deal
Yes.
for everybody in the room.
Okay.
This project, and I know y'all can say, why do you keep talking about it? But this is a project that I worked on with Carlos as the real estate development consultant, assembling the capital for the project and managing it through construction completion. We've had a very good time over 4 years. But this project is leveraged with about 7 layers of capital, benefit from the ARP dollars as well, TIF dollars, permanent debt, as well as new market tax credit equity, and tons of capital resources from the private sector as well and the state.
And you put this capital stack together?
Yes, there's probably about, I think we have about 7.
And you'll see
about
a
7
slide coming up.
She's gonna show you the slide.
Yeah. UIC Neighborhood Center, so that's the biggest, public university in the city, yet they had no presence on Chicago's Southside at all, no presence on the west side, and in fact, I'd like to say this, they operated as if there was a moat around this university that was created and grew during the urban renewal days. And so to really turn their back, and it's actually designed like that, to turn their back on the communities around that university was something that we've had to deal with for decades. And so to get the UIC Neighborhood Center to kind of have an extension into our community, that was a big success for my organization and for this project. It's a small footprint right now, but it's definitely well utilized, and those are images of residents from the Auburn Gresham community. Go to the next slide. Heartland Alliance has a beautiful 3,500 square foot office here in the building as well. And okay, yeah, so they've been seeing some of the asylum seekers. You know, we get them with busloads here in Chicago regularly. This space was designed by an African-American architect who actually lives right next door. Beautiful space, well lit. Next slide. All right, so these are some of the tenants in the building. Very diverse group, you know, some more conservative, you know, like Bank of America's in there. And I mean, you can read them yourselves.
Do any of these tenants do business with each other?
That's a good question. They do now. And
Right,
so,
because of co-locating here? Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I would definitely say the UIC Neighborhood Center has become even more than I anticipated, because out of the gate, I think it was one of those things that the university said, okay, let's quiet those guys out on the south side, and they replicated one on the west side. But they hired the director who lives a block and a half away. It now is a place where they incubate, you know, small businesses, and you know, like there's Bania.
They help with maternal and infant health, especially here in Chicago. Maternal rate of death for expecting Black women is 6 times that of anywhere else in the country. And so she helps with expecting mothers to know what to anticipate, also helping with just the first few months after giving birth with infant massage and things of that sort, helping with lactation and those types of services to help with having an easier delivery, and also a first few good months of, you know, just solid support.
So I want to ask about the pharmacy. So the space for the pharmacy is still on the first floor. Who knew that it was going to be as challenging as it is to get a pharmacy in such an underserved community? We did have an independently owned pharmacy. They may have been the first lease that we inked. And what I did not know is this term called 340B, which is kind of a contractual arrangement that pharmacies like CVS or Walgreens have with the big health systems. And UI Health, they were reluctant, in fact, denied having a 340B relationship with the pharmacy right here in the building. And so that it just didn't make business sense. So we're in conversations with CVS Health, and whatever the name for CVS is, and others, but it is really, really, I need help figuring this one out. Because
Is it CVS Caremark?
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So that building, and we'll see it show, that building right there was a former CVS that closed in 2019, about an 18,000 square foot CVS. It's a challenge. So next slide.
Sorry, I want to talk to you on the previous slide. How'd you get the bank?
So JP Morgan Chase is really the financial institution, the engine behind this building. Our board president is a vice president, a VP at Bank of America. Bank of America, but what we really used was the insult to having Bank of America leave this 5,000 square foot building in August of 2018. And I mean, you guys may have seen me on the news and talking about B of A abandoned this community. And so being able to create this building, this isn't a 5,000 square foot fully serving bank as it should be. It's more of the advanced center, for those that are familiar with that. But it is a moderate, since I don't know, Francine, if you have anything to add about the Bank of America. They're here, they're paying the highest rent People remind me of that. But, so,
And I just know, you think it's hard to get a pharmacy, the bank stories are even worse.
yeah.
It's really about having presence here in the community. Really just, we're focused not only on physical health, financial, but financial health as well. Really economic development. You see that's the team right there. So,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
All right, so the project contributors, Teresa mentioned, so it's a pretty diverse group here. As I mentioned, winning the Pritzker Travel Foundation Chicago Prize at $10 million really put us on the map.
Only 3.9 million of that went into this
This is a
building.
good point. That's a good point. And I know you're gonna ask, where's the rest of it? But, so the state of Illinois has been really great, but you see corporate America has really stepped up. And so when I talk to my friends, and you guys will be with, on the west side, with Marshall Hatch and that team, is really continuing to promote these high-profile projects and getting corporate America to step up. The fact that Kohler Corporation is outfitted this building is critical, and the Bears, et cetera. Let's go, because I know, yeah, so we're gonna skip through that. This is, okay, so this is really important. So now, we always knew this project would be catalytic. Think about, for 30 years, this big-ass building sat vacant right here, next to a high school, 97-year-old high school, on the busiest bus line, right near Halsted, which is, Route 1. And so, being able to get this project to happen, along with our digester, has really catalyzed and spurred $190 million of development right within a 2.5 block radius of where we're standing right here. And so some of these projects, you can see most of them right out of this window. And so there is a Metro station. Metro is like a rapid transit station that services Chicago's suburban areas and then comes to the city of Chicago. So think about it, it crossed 79th Street, but did not have a point that you could get on the Metro train. Years ago, before ethnic succession,
Say that again.
there was a station there. And then suddenly, during the mid-60s, as things changed, they closed the station. And so we fought really hard, and the state senator, Jackie Collins, was able to get $35 million out the state, and then the city of Chicago came around. But I'm gonna tell you, the guy that was the executive director of Metro was staunchly opposed to opening up the station on the busiest bus line here in the city. So, well, and then he took his life soon thereafter, and he stepped in front of his own train. He's a tough guy. And then you see the two projects, the Invest Southwest projects right to the north and right to the east. We have a 28-unit mixed-use affordable housing complex that will come online later 2024. And then to the east, that 5-story building is a 38-unit affordable housing unit coming online. And so, we're looking to reactivate the CVS. So my organization has a sublease with CVS. So right now we use it for overflow parking, and we have designs for a business incubator, a food pantry, and one other thing, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Yeah, transportation hub. Where's the Save-A-Lot? And then, I don't know if you guys are familiar, well, you guys know who Save-A-Lot is. Here in Auburn Gresham at 7908 South Halsted, which is about 200 feet away from here, we're calling it the Reimagined Save-A-Lot. And so the owners are Yellow Banana, and actually, the president is from Cleveland. For those, you guys are from Cleveland, right? And then they service the Great Lakes region and beyond. But what we didn't want was the old nasty Save-A-Lots of the past. And so we are working very closely with Save-A-Lot. We call it the Reimagined Save-A-Lot. We're holding community fairs, hiring community meetings. We've had vendor showcases for Black and brown local vendors to have store shelf placement in the Save-A-Lots. We'll have a mural on the exterior, and on the interior, we're doing debris removal and positive loitering and all but an equity stake in that project, which we are likely, go to the next slide.
Can we spend 1 second on positive loitering now?
Yeah, I'm gonna have, Kenny.
What was the first one, was ethnic what?
Succession.
I got some,
When Penny comes back in, we'll talk about positive loitering. Go to this one right here. So right out this window, so the yellow banana, and so this will probably take too long to explain this. The yellow banana folks own the Save-A-Lot, which is about a 14,000 square foot building. But on the north side of the building, there's 4 storefronts, about 1,000 square foot each. That's what you're looking at here. So this is one contiguous building. On the back of it is the 14,000 square foot reimagined Save-A-Lot. These guys, they just want to own and operate a grocery store. That's it. When they bought this, I don't know if I'm sure they knew, but I don't know if they realized that they were also buying this stuff here. And this stuff has kind of been it's generated a lot of bad stuff for the community. There's been shootings.
Negative loitering?
Negative, right. And so what we're doing, and Kenny, when he comes back in, we'll talk about it. So the conversation really is, how does the community help Yellow Banana, who really is about operating a grocery store and who aren't from the city of Chicago, how can they impact all the negative stuff that's happening here? There is no door. I mean, folks just hang out in there, and we don't know if the owners are fostering this behavior, but it's certainly, and there's Kenny. Kenny, there was a question about what is this positive loitering, and I'm talking about this strip mall that is right there. You can see it from here.
Hello, everyone.
Make it quick, Kenny, because they're counting me down.
Real fast. So we wanted to take a different approach with the guys who were hanging out. And our slogan in Auburn Gresham is always growing in Auburn Gresham. So we wanted them to be part of the change in our community. As you see, buildings are being built. We plan on bringing business owners. So instead of sending those guys to jails, we wanted to bring them resources there, meet them where they at, and let them know what we're doing here and create that bond.
Okay. So we have these pop-up engagements, so we're kind of like in their way, right?
Yes, we have music, we have food, we bring different organizations to help them get the records expunged. One organization has CDL classes for the guys. We partner with another organization that had hot food and groceries as well. So we try to bring in other organizations and business owners.
Have you tried to recruit any of them as corridor ambassadors?
So there is a corridor ambassadors team that's going up and down the 79th corridor. So we have partnered with them, and we're working on the steering committee. So they are a part of the steering committee as well.
So that's our approach, and so we are standing. We're on this 4th floor. Thank you, Kenny Dawes. Give him a round of applause. So we're standing, I'm looking out this window right here. This is the vacant Bank of America, 5,000 square foot drive-through. So GAGDC has now acquired this building. And so we're looking at this expansion, and we're calling it the Auburn Gresham Health and Wellness Campus expansion. So we now own the bank. Here are those kind of bad businesses right here. So it's a shared parking. So this was a step for GAGDC to take, or the community to take some ownership. But we're looking to make that next step. And this back here is the Save-A-Lot right here. So I don't know if you guys may have some thoughts, some recommendations of looking at something there. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you guys have any thoughts, ideas? I mean, once again, those businesses about 1,000 square feet, paying tenants, but it's a problem for the community. So, are you questions? Yeah, sure. I'm done. Thank you and goodbye. I'm
fascinated with the digester.
Yeah.
You all, okay, I have a ton of questions, but I'll distill it down to two. Did y'all own that land? Number one. And number two, okay, so you didn't own the land. So how did the partnership come together
Good question.
with that, I guess, 30,000?
All right,
Yeah,
so
we need everything
as
on
Norma
that.
begins walking
Yeah.
up front, so the land was an old city, auto pound, contaminated land. Come on, Norma.
Trying to hide.
It was contaminated. It was an old international harvester from 100+ years ago. When the city closed the auto pound, the city did convey for $1 that land, a 9-acre site, to Green Era Development. Green Era is made up of Jason Feldman and Erica Allen. And so the relationship, or Norma's being bashful, the relationship really started, it predates the whole Chicago Prize. It started when we were doing quality of life planning back in 2016, 2017.
And that was with Liz?
Yes. Liz, so this was our second quality of life plan with Liz. And so Jason Feldman, we started learning and hearing and talking more about, green energy and jobs and technology. And it was, he was, what task force was Jason on, Norma?
He was on the business and economic development and jobs task force.
Thank you, Norma Sanders. So anyway, so the relationship was genuine. And this is, and so when the Chicago Prize opportunity came up in 2020, I think it was, we already had, thank you, Eric, we already had this design, this concept, this vision in place, and similarly for the Renewable Energy and Urban Farming Campus. And so the partnership was genuine, it was there. There was one aspect that was still, so as the urban ag piece happens here, there will be this education center. It's a smallish education center that was still fundraising to get built. Oh,
There we go.
So anyway,
So when does the digester come online?
it's online.
Oh, it's already online.
It's finally, should have been.
It's online.
Yeah, over a year ago.
It's online.
It's online, but we're only operating currently at about 30–40% capacity. There's still some regulatory issues that we're dealing with, but thank God it's finally online. And most folks, they don't know what it is, and so we're still doing a lot with education. Erica Allen's Urban Growers Collective is that nonprofit that she's been running for a while, inspired by her dad, Will Allen. And so she's had high school kids from Leo and Simeon participating in charrettes. It's really a cool, organic, no pun intended.
Idiot
type of
car.
type of relationship that's grown here.
At 40% capacity, is the digester revenue positive?
That's a good question. I can't answer that.
Because from the numbers, it sounded like it might.
No, I think
No?
in our last cycle, I think they need to get to 60 to 70%.
So, but it's not that far off.
It's not
It's
far
not
off.
that far.
Yeah.
There's a.
And it doesn't have to get to 100 to be
No.
positive.
Exactly.
Because it sounds like it's gonna throw off quite a bit once it's at 100.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, no, go
So
ahead.
just two quick questions on it. Where's the source of the food waste? And secondly, how much of the $10 million is in that?
How much of the?
$10 million
Oh,
prize.
okay, good question. Norma, source of the food waste.
So we have stock agreements with some local grocery stores that are waiting for us to really come online 100%. We have done quite a bit of testing already. And what's cool about this digester is we have a secret sauce that does automatic depackaging. So, yeah, so we have one of the state-of-the-art digesters probably in the US today with that. What was the other question? So most of the grocery stores, we'll hit up local restaurants. We have,
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Coffee
yeah,
roast.
Starbucks is one of the first that, yeah. So
They bring the waste to you, or you go pick it up as part of that?
we're doing a little bit of both. Most of it is coming to us, You know, a lot of the trial runs are coming to us. Probably the only thing that we probably will not digest is a truckload of garlic. Other than that, we're doing pretty good.
And the other thing was how much of the fries?
Right, yeah, I'm gonna let Teresa answer that.
5 million went into the digester and 2 million would be going into the education campus.
And then how much would you say has been like follow-on investment because of the price?
Oh, well, so that's a great question. So back on this slide, really, the catalytic nature of this project, it's been about $180 million that sprouted up just because of this.
In the neighborhood?
Well, just in this 2-block radius, right?
But you represent a larger area, or?
Oh, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
Can you talk a little bit, Carlos, about Invest Southwest and how, what you did here?
Yeah.
Leverage to what the city did?
Yeah, so I referenced Maurice Cox, the Commissioner Cox, earlier. And so he visited in his first week in Chicago in 2019. Yeah, he visited us here at our office on Racine down the street. And so I showed him the building, and he's got an architectural background, and he's a former mayor, and et cetera, et cetera. He fell in love with this, he literally fell in love with this project. And he told me, Carlos, I want the city to build as close to this project as he possibly could build. He loved this adaptive reuse of a building, right? I was like, yeah, great. I had no idea he was going to take our parking. No, but he literally, you see how close that project is, and he's inspired, and he built this. And so the Invest Southwest, Mayor Lightfoot and her administration, I like to say, history will be much kinder to Lori Lightfoot just because of our work with and her leadership, COVID crisis response, and this Invest Southwest for Auburn Gresham is different from the responses you'll get in other communities. Rhonda's sitting right next to you. You guys will be on the west side. I don't know exactly how the west side feels, but we really, as a community, a neighborhood network, which is now funded by United Way, but really led by enormous team in keeping 60 to 80 not-for-profits, stakeholders, faith community together, convening every month, and surging in a singular positive direction makes Auburn Gresham unique.
One thing I wanted to the Christian travel folks are this morning, they're going to be on the west side tomorrow. One of the things I was hoping to happen is for the 3 cities that are here to be able to go back and to make the case to find their equivalent of the Pritzkers. How, and so part of that is communicating how catalytic this was. And can you talk more about that? Just sort of, this $10 million unlocked here on west side, that whole vision thing.
Oh yeah. So let me just, and I can't overstate that enough. So the Chicago, in 2020, there were 20 competing projects. And so I'm on the City of Chicago's Chicago Development Fund board. And this project is completed. You'll see Austin Coming Together, which is a West Side project that competed against us. And they, reached the finish line. You've got you'll be visiting Sankofa Wellness Village, the Lawndale Christians. So the fact that, and I said this to the commissioner and the CDF folks at City Hall, the Chicago Prize that was launched, and I wish Cindy and Penny could hear this, what you're asking, has really spurred so many grassroots organizations and projects to come together and visioning and bringing experts like these 3 and Michelle as well to the table and to start really crafting and designing awesome projects that were from the community and led by the community and had community ownership at the root of them. And now they're all happening here in Chicago. They're all reaching fruition, or we'll have a plan of, an end game nearby. And I think for Chicago, near the Southside and West Side, we'll be in a much better place, you know. Well, this is an example of what we spurred here. So imagine in 5 years, as long as our communities are owning these projects, are at the root of having equity stakes in these projects, I think that's the most important thing. And so what Chicago Trend has been doing about this buying back the block promotion is really representative of what we're talking about right here. But the Chicago Prize, man, has been really a linchpin to so many great things here in Chicago, at least. And I absolutely feel, whether you're in Milwaukee, Cleveland, Detroit, where else are you guys from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore? Norm and I spent time in Baltimore with Bone Secure and Baltimore. You guys need to know Baltimore. But you got some strong, we have some really strong, and then, you know, you saw the Weinberg Foundation, and so, you know, you've got some great philanthropic groups in Baltimore. You know, I think the prize, no pun intended, but the prize, the Chicago Prize or a prize in each one of these cities really helps us get to a point of exceptionalism from our communities. So
I want to make one comment based on what I heard you all talking about in your projects earlier. Think of that, and this is something that I learned from one of my teachers, is that when you do community engagement as a part of the process, that you have to make sure that the process is data informed, and also make sure that your communities understand that in order for these things to be sustainable, you have to choose markets and businesses that are part of not just meeting immediate needs, but also represent industries that are high growth, future oriented. So you see in this project, the anaerobic digester is about sustainability, about a growth sector, etc. We're talking about making a lot of money off selling fuel. And the Healthy Lifestyle Hub was informed by the health data, but is focused on an industry, on a growth industry, medical, and the health center employs 60-something people, of which I think about 50% of them come from this area.
Wow.
And are earning wages over, they're making $25, $30 an hour. So the anchor tenant that's paying the debt on this building is the health center, a growth industry in that particular sector. It's not a boutique. And Carlos was explicit, we ain't having no boutiques in the building. But really focusing on tenants who could come into the building and actually contribute and pay rent, and that would meet needs that were identified in the quality of life plan, and were something that we can project to be sustainable, and not something that would, go away. And I think that's a very important thing to think about when I heard some of the projects that you are talking about, to be very careful about the kind of industries that you're targeting for those developments.
In Lanier, we are part of Open House Chicago, you may be familiar with it, where the city has tourist attraction sites all over, and so we self-selected, and most of them, of course, are downtown. And folks from all over the region were intrigued by this terracotta-clad building on the south side, and we actually had folks visiting that had never been to Chicago's south side, and a couple of them were folks of high wealth who own Fortune 500 companies. So we're now actually cultivating those relationships to a point where they will end up as a project contributor or a funder to our work. So that really speaks to the reach, and it was tiring when we won the Chicago Prize during COVID, and we were being pulled in every direction, every interview, and I'm all over the place, and it was just exasperating, but recognizing the importance of having such a high-profile project, and it's reaped quite a few benefits. In fact, here's one of the benefits. There we go.
Congratulations, Carlos, and please take it away with the Bear selection.
With the 11th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, my Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback of Ohio State.
Were you nervous going out on stage?
Not at all.
Thanks, Larry.
Yes, I know, I was watching. Heard the Sandman.